always lekker to hear a success story. Even though that success story may still be in a work in progress because there's more success to come or to be added to that success story. Now, success stories give us inspiration, they give us hope, they sort of plant the seed of ambition and they sort of give us that drive and that motivation to work toward our own goals, to achieve our own success stories and to write our own success stories. Welcome to another business-oriented episode of the Professional Plumber podcast. I'm Willem Klopper, your host, and joining me for this episode is Mr. Tiro Mokae of Kimberly Handyman. Tiro, a warm welcome to you. Thanks for your time all the way from Kimberly. You're sitting in studio with me. Lekker to have you here.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for inviting me. This is a great place to be.
Awesome. Listen, I am very excited about our conversation because today in this episode, you and I are going to talk about your story, your success story. And even though that success story is still a work in progress, because there's more things to come, right?
Yes, there's a lot more to come. A lot more to come, yes.
You know, times are tight here. Hey? The economy is tight, times are tough. And I'm not sure, by the time that we're recording this episode, it's almost close to the end of the year. I'm not sure where it's going to end, but especially this time of year, people are tired and they're overworked and they're looking for a break. But at the same time, they're going to appreciate a lack of feel-good success story that gives them that renewed energy for the remainder of the year and for the year to come. So we're going to have a lekker. I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about your story, your path to success. And but I think just before Tiro and I go into our conversation, we're going to take a quick ad break. Do stay tuned for it. We'll be right back after it.
Good day. How can I help you?
Hi, I'm here to log in my COCs, but I seem to be having an issue with my computer.
No problem. But did you know that you can log your COCs using an app on your cell phone?
Oh, what app is that?
It's called the app Plumber. Do you have a smartphone with you?
Yes, I do.
Oh well, let me show you how it works.
Not only can you access your PIRB profile on the app Plumber, but you can also earn CPD points while exploring the plumbing industry in the palm of your hand. Download the app from Google Play Store and join thousands of other happy users.
Welcome back. You're still tuned into a lekker business-oriented episode of the Professional Plumber podcast with myself, Willem Klopper, and my guest, Mr. Tiro Mokae of Kimberly Handyman. Tiro, so when I introduced you to, or when I said to the audience, the listeners and the viewers, what we're going to chat about today, I think I mentioned that you are the founder and the managing director of Kimberly Handyman.
That's correct.
If I have forgotten to say that, I'm saying it now.
Thank you.
But let's share your story. Let's talk about quickly, who is Tiro? What is your background? Let's talk about what was your path to where you are today with Kimberly Handyman?
Okay, that's a long path, and I'm going to try and summarize it as good as I can. The story starts with, I was born and bred in Kuhlman. That's a town in Northern Cape.
Small town.
It's a small town with mines. It should be bigger, but...
Mines and sheep.
Yes, that's correct. Very accurate. Yes, I was born there. I did my primary school in Kuhlman Primary, and I went to boarding school after that in Potch, high school over there. And then I went to Cape Town, UCT, to study mechanical engineering. And I studied mechanical engineering, and for the first time in my life, I found myself failing maths, calculus. I got a 30% in my first year, and I finished matric with pure maths getting 90%. I had like 3 distinctions, so I was like, what is going on? I was failing everything, and I couldn't. I got discouraged. I wasn't ready for varsity. Just like with a lot of kids are not ready for varsity. You do well in high school, but then you get there and you realize it's a different ball game.
It is.
Yeah, so that's what happened, and then I dropped out of that. I tried computer science the following year, and I made it to second year. Then I dropped out of that as well.
What was it about computer science that you said, okay, wait a minute, this is not for me? Because is it the same kind of maths, though?
Same maths, everything, just mathematical, calculus all the way, and it was very difficult. For me, there were people that were thriving. So I think everybody has to be in their grace and what they're gifted at, and so I think I probably, well, let me not just say it was I wasn't in my grace and my gifting. I was also a naughty child, I wasn't disciplined enough to make it through. I would have made it through, I think, if I was disciplined enough, but I chose to do other things and have different habits that don't lead to success.
Yeah.
So I dropped out of that, and my parents, after 4 years of trying something new, dropping out, I tried electrical engineering after that. It was always something technical that I wanted to do, something that is, connected to creation, building, improvement, tech.
Was that technical inclination there from childhood, or did it develop only later?
It was there from childhood.
Okay.
It was there from childhood. My dad can testify to that. Actually, my parents can testify to that.
So then it was electrical engineering. What happened after that? Where did Kimberly Handyman come in?
Okay, so Kimberly Handyman came in after I dropped out of the electrical engineering course, and my parents were like, okay, your 4 years that we budgeted for are done. We budgeted 4 years for your varsity. You've exceeded your quota to study. Now you gotta have to go work. So I went to PwC, and they had a job opportunity for me.
PricewaterhouseCoopers.
That's correct. PricewaterhouseCoopers in Kimberley.
They're in accounting.
Yeah.
And auditing and those kind of things.
Yes. So I went from
Not as technical.
not as technical, but just as difficult for me. So I went into that. So now I had to start working. I had to be an adult now at the age of 23. I had to start working, and that's when I did my articles, and I dropped out of that after 3 years, and then I just decided, you know what, I can't do this. It's not working out. It's too hard. And I went into business. Everything I learned along the way led me to starting a business of helping people register companies, doing tax clearance certificates and BE certificates, and helping them with company compliance. And I was making money from that. Little money, it wasn't much. And then the company of Kimberly Handyman started much later than that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know if we still have time for me to go into it.
I want to hear about Kimberly Handyman. Tell me, when was it founded? Tell me, where is it based? Tell me, obviously in Kimberly, but tell me just very briefly. We've got about 5 minutes before we need to go into another ad break. So there's about 5 minutes that we can go for it.
Okay,
please.
Great. That's enough time. That was 2016. That's when that was my last year at PricewaterhouseCoopers and UNISA as well. That I dropped out of both and went straight. I thought, you know what, let me just see what I can do. And I didn't go into business success straight away. I started with the whole registering companies for people. It wasn't because I was passionate about it. It was because I had to make something. Means, I had to put something on the table. I had to eat. Yeah. But the bad habits were still there. I had not grown up. I was still a naughty boy. And so the money comes in. Most of it goes to a lifestyle that we don't want to talk about now. And it was in the beginning of 2017, 23rd of April, 2017, where I was actually in a church service in CRC Kimberley in the evening service where Pastor Art was preaching about I'm born again. It's a title message, I'm born again. And it was from that moment that my life changed forever. I realized I needed to be born again, and I received God's Spirit, and I became a child of God from that day. And from that time, that's when everything changed in my life. I actually became sober from that day.
Oh, wow.
23rd of April 2017. That was the last time I was ever drunk or high or anything. And 6 months later, I was walking from church with a brother in Christ, and he does renovations and, building showers and things like that. And he's like, I'm looking for somebody who can get me more jobs, because I want to do more of these, and I need somebody who can get the jobs. I'm like, I can do that. And he's like, yeah, if you can do it, do it. And then he gave me the idea. He's like, register a company, something like Kimberly or Handyman, something like that. And I knew straight away, I had to register this company, and I had to do it quickly. Within a week, it was registered, done. Kimberly Handyman was done by the end of that week. We didn't immediately go into that type of business. I actually started trading with government. I actually started selling, stationery and all those things. But within 2 months, I went from hustling, a quick 100 rand there for doing a tax clearance for somebody to 50,000 rands as cash in excess in my bank account, and it became so easy. I knew that this is God, and I 10% of every income, every profit I made, belonged to the Lord from that day, because I knew He guided me, He led me.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and that business did not work anymore.
Oh, wow.
It could not work. Then became broke, so broke. I became very discouraged, and that's when we pivoted. And we pivoted to something that we were supposed to start with originally anyway.
In the beginning, yeah.
So God is very intentional. He will tell you that, do this at the right time. I'll tell you what to do. And my dad put in a claim to replace a geyser. The plumber came, and I spoke to him, and I'm like, what's going on here? And I put 2 and 2 together, and I knew what this is.
The birth of...
Kimberly Handyman, the plumbing company, started from there.
It was also a rebirth for the company at that point. You've gone through a rebirth, a reborn,
Exactly.
and then a rebirth, because you said you didn't start off with that at the beginning.
Exactly.
Listen, Tiro, I want to hear more about Kimberly Handyman. We have to go to a quick ad break. To our listeners and our viewers, please do stay tuned for these ads. Tiro and I will be right back to continue his success story.
We actually don't want to talk about it.
Are you worried that CPD is getting in the way of your work?
I really just don't get it. I don't even know where to start.
Are you intimidated by the latest technologies, new materials, or even perhaps new methods of doing things?
Yho, into le yasinda.
Oh, kakhulu.
Is self-improvement important to you?
ntho e thata bophelo ba ka ka moka a nka se kgone ho nagana ntho yo.
Do you feel as if you lag behind with where the industry is moving forward?
Fear not, for we have some exciting news just for you.
The PRB's launch of the CPD Rewards program means that CPD no longer has to feel like a heavy burden to you.
The CPD Rewards program acknowledges the hard work that you've put in while you strive to improve yourself while remaining up to date with the ins and outs of the plumbing industry in South Africa.
Through the CPD Rewards program, you will be rewarded for your efforts in continuously developing yourself with discounts and, of course, various prizes.
It cannot become more enticing than that. Here's how it works.
Depending on the level of tier you are on, whether that be blue, bronze, silver, gold, or even diamond, you will be rewarded with things like discounts on COCs or even Proud Plumber t-shirts or your annual renewal fee. And of course, various prizes.
Welcome back. Tiro and myself are still sharing his success story. One that's still in progress, one that is still being written. Tiro, just before we went into the ad break, you told us a little bit of your background, having been the naughty boy, the kind of things that you studied, having had that entrepreneurial desire in you, having known that you have a technical inclination, and how you got to start Kimberly Handyman. But then also at the same time, you refer to the fact that Kimberly Handyman didn't actually start off doing the things that you do now until a certain point where you interacted with a plumber that replaced a geyser for your father. So just a quick one. Where did it develop to from then? What is Kimberly Handyman today?
Kimberly Handyman today is a professional accredited licensed plumbing company, registered with PIRB, a member of IOPSA, and we do various jobs for businesses, big corporates, and every day we're busy. We're replacing geysers. That's one of the most that's the type of job we do, mostly replacement of geysers. But we do all sorts of plumbing, and our licensed plumber, one of our licensed plumbers is a solar geyser specialist. So we can do solar as well, but the main thing that we do is replacement of geysers, and we've mastered that art. And yeah, so the community knows us for that, and we get 10 out of 10 ratings, a lot for that. If you average us out, it's 5-star ratings. If you search Kimberly Handyman on Google, you'll see we've got a 5-star rating there, and you'll see what the community says. But however, we're not limited to that. It's not just maintenance plumbing.
Exactly.
We can do construction plumbing as well. We've got, one of our plumbers is got over 15 years experience. I think 10 years experience. Let me not say 15. It could be more. But he's got 10 years experience in plumbing. And he's our most experienced plumber, and he's the operations manager. So he can build a house from scratch, by himself.
Bricklaying, piping, electricity,
roof, everything, electricity as well. Yeah. So then I saw this opportunity. I saw this opportunity to profit, and that's what God does. He opens your eyes to see the opportunity, because time and chance happen to every one of us. We all get an opportunity to do something.
It's whether you grab it or not. It's
whether you grab
use
it,
of it,
exactly, and if your eyes are open to see it. So at that point, just before Kimberly Handyman went into plumbing, I was discouraged because of what happened with COVID. And somebody called that I hadn't spoken to in years, and he used to be in our church, and he called me and he asked, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Ish." I was still in
Down
bed.
in the dumps.
Yeah, exactly. It was probably 10 o'clock. I was still in bed, so clearly I was depressed. and he just said, "Keep your head up, mighty man. Don't be discouraged. Discouraged men will not see opportunities when they come, and even God cannot use a discouraged person." That hit like a light bulb. From then on, I kept my head up. I knew I had to keep sowing seed. I had to keep looking, And that's when I saw the opportunity. And we subcontracted under a company that does plumbing work for the industries, certain industries, and we learned from there. And that company had a very good technical manager. He's very, very good. He taught us how to install a geyser up to compliance to SANS code so well that we didn't want to have comebacks. We didn't want to have, to be called back and said, hey, you've got an audit, you got to fix this. So he perfected us, actually. Yeah. And for a whole year, we worked. We weren't getting much money from it, but it was good training. Yeah. And we thank God for them. We thank God for that company. They taught us very well in how the industry operates. And after that, then the first contract came in, second, third, fourth, just like that.
Just developed into what it is today.
Just developed into what it is today.
Well-oiled machine.
Well-oiled machine, and it was by grace, it was favor. But even when you receive this favor, when people will say it's good luck that you got that, but I believe it's God's grace.
Yes, and it's also hard work. It's also your focus, it's also what you saw, the opportunities you saw, and making work of that. They've been presented to you, and you work towards achieving them and getting those contracts. Exactly. Getting the people. And you spoke about the fact that you've got qualified plumbers, registered and licensed plumbers, as well as experienced. You've got experienced plumbers who do the actual work for you. They've got basic specializations, like solar and those kind of things that you mentioned, and you made sure that you work towards those goals. A contract might have been a goal for you. You worked hard to get it, and you obtained it. It's not by luck. It's not by chance. Yeah. It was opportunities that were presented to you. You took them and you made work of it.
Yes.
But Tiro, I want to ask you, and I know that I interrupted you now.
No problem.
But off air, you and I quickly discussed the fact that we went through a list of what your company does and those kind of things. But something that stood out for me of what you said off air was the fact that your company is also, Kimberly Handyman is also registered with SETA, S-E-T-A, SETA.
Yes, yeah.
What is that about?
That is something that came to me as well. I did not think that I didn't even know what SETA was until this company came to me and they asked me a simple question. They're based in Bloemfontein, skills development, and they basically keep you they keep your books, keep your plan compliant. They plan your development for you, your skills development for your company. So they plan it for you, and they submit the plan for you with SETA based on doing an assessment of your company and what skills you need development in. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious. If you're running a plumbing company and you've got licensed plumbers, and anybody gets trained for 3 years under a supervision of a licensed plumber, they become eligible to go for an ARPL and write a trade test. And if they pass, then they do the PRV assessment, and just like that, they become a professional. So I didn't spot that opportunity as well until they came to me and they asked me, "Are you doing any training or development for your employees?" And I said, "No, we're just doing whatever we're doing every day." And he's like, "No, that's false, because the administrator who administers your documents, your damage reports, your pictures, before after pictures, everything that takes place, that whole process, they're learning how to do this on the job. So after they finish, whether they're going to work here 3 years or whatever, that experience is training. So you're actually training, and SETA is looking for companies that do that. So then I was like, okay, it's a no-brainer. Let's sign up. What do you need from me? And they said, we just need you to become a client of ours, and we'll make sure that we handle your training and development. And that's how we got registered with SETA. And our plan for the next 2, 3, 4 years is to focus a lot on the previously disadvantaged that are good at their hands, willing to work, and we'll take them in, work under the supervision of our licensed plumbers, keep a logbook for them, make sure that they do the work that they're supposed to do, preparing them for an ARPL. And this is, for me, one of the biggest things we can give back to the community. Because you're taking somebody who probably doesn't have a matric, could have ended up being a criminal, ends up becoming a professional plumber.
Oh, lekker.
And that's a game changer. And people don't know how prestigious it is to be a licensed plumber with a PRV card. That is, some people think a plumber is a toilet person, but we know it's not
There's
that.
a big misperception about it. But it's
Exactly.
lucky to hear that you are also plowing back, having received the opportunities and the gifts that you have in your life. We heard it from your perspective of faith, how you've received gifts and prosperity and those kind of things, but how you give back to others and also get them on board to contribute to the economy and give value back to society and the community. It's
Exactly.
lucky to hear that that carries a lot of value and that means a lot to people and to our country, Tiro. So well done on that. To our listeners and our viewers, Tiro and I are going to take a quick ad break. Please do stay tuned for those advertisements. They're for your benefit and your interest. Tiro and I will be back right after this.
It's an exciting time to be a professionally registered plumber. The PIRB's leaderboard provides plumbers with the opportunity to be placed onto a ranking system to see how they perform amongst their peers around the country. This ranking system enables both plumbers and consumers to identify top local plumbers and monitor their performance nationally and regionally. Consumers will always look for the best, and at the top is where you'd want to be. It is therefore very important to be dedicated to continuously upskilling yourself through continuous professional development activities. The CPD points you accumulate during the CPD program will allow you to be rated on the leaderboard as you grow. The ranking system runs on a 3-month rolling average, where you can find yourself at the very top by accumulating more points than your peers. Top-ranked plumbers also stand a chance to win prizes through a lucky draw, where winners are announced on the PIRB's Plumbing 101 shows on YouTube. Do not miss out on the opportunity to be highlighted as an elite plumber in South Africa. Start accumulating points and become one of the best. Get skilled, get rewarded.
Welcome back. You're still tuned into a business-oriented episode of the Professional Plumber Podcast with myself, Willem Klopper, and my guest, Mr. Tiro Mokae, the founder and the managing director of Kimberly Handyman, KHM as your customers know it.
Yes.
So before the ad break, we had quite a few discussions, quite a few things that were mentioned about your background, the opportunities that arose for you. We also spoke about Kimberly Handyman, what your company does, the kind of services, the specializations that you do. We spoke about your path to ending up in a handyman and plumbing company, right? And that path included having studied toward engineering. Whether that be the electrical engineering, it was the mechanical engineering, it was a computer sciences. There was a time that you were employed by PricewaterhouseCoopers, that you were a trainee accountant for a while, and then eventually it ended up with opportunities that you saw that were presented to you. You grabbed those opportunities, made value of them, ended up having KHM, doing construction plumbing, doing geyser replacements, maintenance plumbing, and I'm sure quite a few other things in between. The fact is that you've studied this and you've studied that. You may have dropped out. You did mention that you had a lifestyle that was
Contributed.
that can be referred to as being the naughty boy.
Yes. Let's keep
I
it
can
at
relate.
that.
I can relate. It was the same for me. But the fact is that eventually you found your calling. KHM is your calling. It is, though it's named Handyman, it is very much plumbing orientated.
Yes.
And this is what my next question to you is, because this is a new thing that you are studying towards now. Tell us about that new thing that you're studying towards.
The new thing within plumbing, or the other new thing?
That new thing within plumbing.
Okay. So once the company started, I also developed a keen like and a passion for plumbing. Watching, because we didn't start off with an office and I'm there and I'm managing director on a chairman's chair. I was in the field as well, making sure that because I've always believed in excellence. We are created by God and we are made in His image and likeness, and He's a God of excellence. You know, you don't see the sun tomorrow saying, or today saying, I'm tired today. I'm not coming up. You guys will deal with the dark today. You know, everything in creation functions as it should because God created it excellently. So I believe that we should be as excellent. So excellent service delivery, you know, quality. And I was there. I was there to look for that, to make sure that we're doing everything according to the quality that's expected, the way we treat a customer, we treat them with respect, and you know that we have those soft skills as well, because that can set you apart.
Oh, for sure.
And that we are on time as well for any appointment. And if we're gonna be late, we better make the call well in advance to say that we're running a little bit late, but we're still coming. Don't worry, we'll assist you today. We know nobody wants to be without a geyser in winter for even a day. So we're still coming. So I had to ensure quality, you know. So, and within all of this, I developed a keen desire for it. And I started, you know, learning how to do it myself. And now I registered for a course to study plumbing. And
You started learning from your employees.
yeah.
Like it.
And that's how humble we are. We're a great team. Everybody is, you know, we are one. We're a unit. We united with one purpose. We know where we're going. We have caught the vision, and it doesn't end here, like you said.
Yeah.
You know, the path is still a journey to continue. So
You're that you developed the desire to learn more about plumbing yourself, on the job, hands-on training from your employees, or being educated by them and trained by them.
Yeah.
And you're also now doing your trade.
And
Is that
now,
correct?
That's correct. I'm registered with a college, and at some point I will write a trade test, and by the grace of God, I will pass that trade test. And when I've passed it, maybe you'll see me doing an assessment here at PIRB. But I'm registered actually as a learner plumber. So
Yes.
yeah. So and that for me is very critical as a company managing director to also have the knowledge, whether it's just basic,
Yes.
but to have the knowledge, to have the ability to supervise, knowing what the quality that is required is,
Yes.
the regulation. And at the same time, you have to read SLAs, you have to know what the client wants as well. So that's the stage that I'm at. So getting the license, getting the qualification, learning, and then doing the CPDs. And at this moment, we are number one in the region in Northern Cape, yeah. And we've been number one for quite some time.
Humbleness, well done.
Thank you very much. And it's because we recognize that training and development is very important.
Yes.
You know, the regulation changes as time goes.
The standards change.
The standards
requirements
change.
of the standards. New materials, new type of products.
Exactly.
New methods of doing things.
Exactly.
You know, because new things are always being... innovation comes along to make things easier, more
Exactly.
convenient, and improve things, right? So it's a
Improve
continuous
things.
learning process.
Exactly.
But we are drawing to a close, so I've got two more questions quickly for you. One is just very briefly tell us the success story for what's next for KHM, for the company. Your success story is still growing. It's still being written.
It's still being written, and we don't know when the story will be concluded. That God knows that, but we follow His ways. And the current place where we are at now is that we are ensuring quality, and we are building systems to ensure that this plumbing fruit that we have developed, it remains and continues to grow for generations to come. We are not here for quick profits. I mean, we've had situations where we've had casuals hired to assist as assistants, and during the winter days, you know how much work.
How many geysers are replaced in the winter? Yeah.
Yes, and one of them just we did give the training, but they stepped through the ceiling and fell off. But good thing we've got everything in place. We've got the liability and workman defect insurance, so that was handled quickly, very quickly, because you don't want a client having ceiling that's open for that long, you know. And during that period, I then realized that, you know what, you never know what will happen that you don't know about. So you better get your company to be ISO accredited, to be ISO 9001
and that's
accredited.
where the systems comes in.
That's
it's
where
like
the systems
quality
come in.
management systems,
Quality,
ISO. I think it's 9001. There's
Yes.
also health and safety management systems that are required by ISO. Okay,
Yes.
so this is the part, the systems.
Yes.
Systems implementation.
Systems implementation and making sure that it's implemented and it remains to be implemented. And like I said, we're not chasing quick profits. We put our name first before quick profits, before money. Because I mean, with a good name, the money will follow. So,
Exactly.
So even on jobs like that where the guy almost fell off the ceiling, thank God he didn't. It was just a foot. We gave the client a discount because we want the client to be happy, and that's how you mitigate certain things. And now the system development is to ensure that we have a unit, a company that can multiply and is scalable to any degree, can multiply to any city, can almost like a franchise, you know, to have everything to the T, quality assured with a quality manager there, everything, and continue to improve on that with technology, with automation. Because we're working in an industry where you have to be very quick. You can't, you know, take a week to submit an invoice or a damage report or a quotation for that matter, because a quotation is needed in order for it to be approved and in order for the client to get the geyser replaced. So that has to happen very fast. So we've started this whole process. We've got a CRM system that works amazingly, produces damage reports on the spot, you know, and you don't have to be so technical to work on it. You know, it's on the phone, you answer questions, and there it is.
Talking about that, we're drawing to a close of this episode. We are running out, and it's very unfortunate because I want to continue to hear more.
Yes.
Just that very briefly, quickly. Talking about you mentioned doing something on the phone. You're also very keen on digital transformation.
Yes, yes.
You believe that even in the plumbing industry, things can go digital. Yes, you can't digitally tighten pipes, but the fact is there are things that can be applied in your trade, in your industry, to digitalize certain things.
Yes, especially the administration part of it, you know, because as much as we're doing this for ourselves to be as efficient as possible and to be the best in terms of how service delivery and our promptness and mainly efficiency and turnaround times, and for transparency, you know, everybody must know what's happening at all times, and that takes sending out an email, and it takes time to type an email. But if you've got automations that do that for you, then you don't need to do something you've done before that can just be recorded and, you know, it gets sent out again. So I always say I don't like to type the same thing twice if I can just save it somewhere.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So that's why we're implementing it first in the administration side, in the office. And it's also for other plumbers to benefit, because I know there's plumbers that don't even have time to spend with their families, because when they're done in the field, they have to come back they come back home. Now they need to produce reports, they need to do the invoicing, they can't spend time with their families. The important things of life are being missed. There's no balance. And it's interesting that KK I spoke to KK about this, I think 2 years ago on a road show, and he's like, if you can get that right, that right there, that means you become a consultant. And then ChatGPT came into play. And we all know, I don't know if people are aware of ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is something that is not well used by many people. And it can be very useful. And I found myself going back in time.
Save a lot of time and money.
Save a lot of time and money, and I found myself now having to do Python again, which I did in computer science years ago, and I'm doing now this ChatGPT and developing systems and automation to make things easier for everybody, make things easier for the team, and that's where we're headed. And Kimberly Handyman. Not just plumbing, but...
Just around, we're wrapping off this episode now, but let's wrap it off with this. You just mentioned the importance of people and spending time with their families, and how you can reduce work time so that they can have more time. So talking about people, there are people listening to this episode and watching this episode, and I want to wrap this off by giving you a very, very quick, we've got about 1 minute that you can please share one last word of encouragement or inspiration to them. A lot of them have now started their own businesses, working for themselves, maybe employing others.
Yes.
Just let's wrap it off with like that.
Okay. All right. Cool. For anybody who's looking to start their own business, or if you're in the plumbing industry, I would like to let you know that this is a very lucrative and a skill that is very, very scarce in our country. It's needed, especially for females, because although we have the highest ratio of females to any other of females to males of licensed plumbers in South Africa, we can have more. There's enough demand for this service. So don't give up. Keep on upskilling yourself, and don't be quick to want to have the big profits. Start small and take those little steps. Take the steps to develop a system, learn how a company operates, and don't take small opportunities for granted, because it is in that opportunity where you will find yourself in the right place at the right time, and you'll meet the right person. So anywhere you go, do your best, because you never know who you're doing work for. You might just be doing work for the premier or the president. You will know if it's the president. But, you might find yourself in the right place at the right time. And when you do that and you're always diligent, God will bless that. God blesses the diligent hand, and you put everything to it, you will be blessed. And
Tiro, you were talking about being blessed, but what I can say is that you've blessed us with your presence here today, and with the inspirational and encouraging and motivating story that you've shared with us. So thanks for your time, your effort. Thanks for blessing us today. To our listeners and our viewers, that concludes the episode and a conversation between myself and Tiro, my guest. But please don't go away yet, because we are bringing you some awesome industry announcement. Stay tuned for those. But from Tiro and myself, that's a goodbye. We'll see you next time.
From the 18th to the 22nd of December, the PIRB will run on skeleton staff. Our offices will then close between the 25th of December and the 5th of January 2024. Should urgent assistance be required, we will have staff on standby. Normal office operations will resume on the 8th of January 2024. Dispatching of PIRB cards will be halted from tomorrow and will resume again on the 9th of January 2024. As we draw to the end of 2023, the PIRB thanks all PIRB registered plumbers, as well as our partners and associates, for another year in which we worked together. We aim to continue working together with all applicable stakeholders for the upliftment of our industry and trade. The PIRB wishes you and your families a wonderful festive season. Blessings for the December holidays and a happy new year to you.